And the city never sleeps. The magic in the air so deep. We chase the moments, make them last. The future mirrors of us.
Welcome to the Icons Edit, the podcast where screen, style, and pop culture collide, and we talk about everything iconic from the 80s through to the 2000s. And today's subject is very iconic. It is, of course, Gossip Girl. Now, for Gossip Girl, I have a very special guest, and she is a complete expert. The definition of the word expert. She is to Gossip Girl what I am to Sex and the City. With me is Audrey Long, who is not only a bona fide expert from Gossip Girl, but also the founder of XOXO Poshit Girl. Now, this is an Instagram and social media page that has just, oh, it's huge. You've got every Gossip Girl fan on the planet following and talking about the show. And you're also a publicist, and you do a lot. You write as well. So you have fingers in lots of pies.
I do.
So we're here to talk today mostly about Gossip Girl, but we are going to intertwine it a little bit with Sex and the City and some of the other shows in the era as well. So let's start off by you telling me how, what, where, when. How did you get into it? When did you watch it? Tell me about how it became such a huge part of your life.
Yeah, well, first off, Dawn, thanks so much for having me.
You're very welcome.
Such a beautiful setup. So I would say my introduction to Gossip Girl was kind of unorthodox. My family moved to Greenwich, Connecticut when I was in the 6th grade. And so I was trying to figure out how to, you hear so often that New York is so cinematic and so many movies and TV shows were shot here. And it happened one day, I was just, it was on Netflix at the time. I was just scrolling on Netflix. I saw Gossip Girl. I knew it was set in New York, which was an hour away from my hometown, and clicked on the show. I was 12. And from the first episode, the pilot, I was hooked. And I'm sure we all remember how iconic the pilot episode is.
I watched it again last night.
Yes!
I mean, I've seen the show twice through, but I wanted to do a recap and watch it again.
Yes.
So I did watch the pilot, and I was about to say to you, how iconic was that as a first episode?
Oh my God, like actual chills.
Yeah.
The music, the outfits, the character development, it's perfection. When the COVID pandemic hit, I was 13. I was in 8th grade. I ended up, at the time, I was reselling vintage designer clothing from garage sales and tag sales and around Greenwich. So I was reselling those on Poshmark and eBay. So I had a general idea of kind of how to resell designer clothing.
Yeah.
And obviously at the time, I was a fan of Gossip Girl. So when the pandemic hit, I couldn't do this in-person sourcing anymore. Very shortly after starting online school, I ended up bridging these two passions, and I would source and flip authentic designer, vintage, Gossip Girl outfits.
Wow. Okay, so this is one of my questions I was going to talk to you later, but let's just
Yes.
talk about it now. So is it still totally relevant then? Because obviously I'm a Sex and the City collector. We know this about me.
Yes.
Is it the same for Gossip Girl fans? Are they still clamoring to find those pieces? Do they command a high price? Is it easy to find them, hard to find them? So that I'd love to know about this, because I don't collect Gossip Girl stuff. Apart from this, obviously. But
we have to talk about the bill.
We'll have to buy
Yeah.
this one. But yeah, so tell me, is it the same thing as Sex and the City with collecting?
It absolutely is. So I've been doing this for about 6 years, right? It was funny because I came into the market and there were a couple of other women who were honestly doing the same thing. Many of them were 30, 40 years old.
And they were doing Gossip Girl?
They were doing Gossip Girl. Well, it was interesting. So I came into the market, right? I was like a fresh-faced 13-year-old. I was so naive.
It was hilarious to me. Like, you're 30 and you're like an entrepreneur. I love it for you.
I grew up in a very business-focused family. So
I love that though.
I came into the market, and at the time, a lot of iconic looks that now a lot of my buyers will send me requests for. I mean, I opened up a private sourcing forum, so if anyone's interested in finding a specific look from Gossip Girl,
can you open a Sex and the City one for
me? Yes.
We need that.
And so I've honestly gotten, I would say 6, maybe 10 requests already for the Mark by Marc Jacobs white Joelle dress that Blair wore in season 2, episode 1.
Okay, so that's been one that's
Yes.
been asked for the most, you
Yes.
would say. Okay.
Yes. And so when I came into the market in 2020, some of these other women, again, 30, 40 years older than me, were selling this dress for $100. $100 to $150.
And is that good or bad?
Oh my God, that is way below what this should be. Because
Oh,
I
wow.
saw this and I was like, this is the most iconic look from the show. And so early on, I was able to source one of the dresses, I think for under $100. And don't quote me on this, I flipped it for at least $400.
Wow, that's a good profit. And you know,
Yes.
the thing is, people forget about collecting and reselling
Yes.
is that it's a lot of work. I
Yeah.
do it as well now
Yeah.
for my followers. I will try my best to find extra pieces to sell because I don't
Yes.
really want to sell my own. I own some of the original outfits of the Sex and the City, and I don't
Yeah,
like to
yeah.
sell those, but I do like to try and help people to find them. And I
Mhm.
try to keep the prices, you know, really low as much as I can.
Yeah.
But ultimately, you're charging for your time and
Yes.
the effort, and it's exhausting. You're scrolling. People ask me all the time, how do you find stuff from the show? And I'm like, you wouldn't believe it. I spend hours a day
Yes.
scrolling, searching. Some days you get nothing. Some
Yeah.
weeks you get nothing.
Yeah.
You know, that's, you are paying, you're not just paying for the item. You're paying for the
Yes.
rarity and you're paying for how hard it was to get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well, I think that's a great touch point to kind of expand on the Mark by Marc Jacobs dress, if that's okay. Initially, right, came in, it was selling on the market for $150. One of my first flips, I said, this isn't right. Like this can't happen. Currently in 2026, I single-handedly have moved that market price up for that dress from $150 to $1,500.
oh my God. So you're responsible, everyone's like.
Sorry,
it's you.
guys. Sorry.
I think though I've done that with Sex and the City
Yeah,
stuff also.
you have,
I
yeah.
think we've single-handedly
Yes.
increased the value. Okay, so actually just for the benefit of people who are listening and not
Yes.
watching, the Mark by Marc Jacobs, describe it to me just so that people who are listening kind of can conjure up an image of that one.
So it's the iconic 3 words, 8 letters dress from the Hamptons White Party. It's like an eggshell white Mark by Marc Jacobs mini dress, scalloped ruffle.
It's beautiful.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I've had probably 8 or 9 of them.
I know exactly what
Yes.
she's wearing, a white headband.
Yeah.
Like a corsage white headband.
Jennifer Behr. Yes.
God, I love that. You know what? I was going to ask you who that dress was by.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's
that
all in
is
here.
incredible. That for me is the most best example of monochromatic dressing, head to
Yes.
toe.
The heels were Chloe. They're
Oh,
really old.
fab.
I found them.
Yeah.
Incredible. So monochromatic.
Do you
You're
have
right.
the outfit that you've kept for yourself?
Love this question, and I always have a different answer because as I've evolved, I've run this business over 6 years. My personal style has changed.
Yeah.
The events I go to has changed. So my stance on this now and ever changing is that, you know, there are some pieces I love that are practical for me to wear. I'll wear them, get a couple photos, and then sell them.
Right, I understand
Pass
that
them
as
on to
well.
a new life.
Yeah, I understand that because
Yeah.
because you're like me, we do get photographed a lot and we are going to events and
Yes.
you're probably not wearing the same dress. Like I've never worn this Bill Blast.
It's incredible.
This is the only time I've worn it for a photo shoot, but I've never worn it.
Yeah.
And this is as rare as it gets. Like
Yes.
this 2008.
It's
full winter
very
2008.
rare.
And Blair wears
Yeah.
she wears the blouse version of this. Oh God, I've been looking for that. I actually passed up on it on eBay about 10 years ago
No.
because I think then it was like $200, $300, and at that point I was like, I can't spend that.
Yeah.
Now that seems like chump change
Oh
to me,
my
given
God.
what people,
Yeah.
what I'm paying and what people are paying.
It would sell for $3,000.
Oh, easily. And that's why I actually would never sell this one because I'm not
should.
just a show collector. I'm an archival fashion collector.
Yes.
And it's for me, if it's a piece, I mean, I've never seen this anywhere. I hold on to those things. But I think when you're a reseller like you are, it's really important to not be too attached to the clothing.
My mom drilled that in from a young age. She's
Don't
like,
be attached.
Audrey, yeah, think about the benefit of, you know, selling this for $800
Yeah.
and buy how many coffees or
So
yeah.
do you have a piece? Do you keep a lot of, have you got stuff that you've kept? Is there something that you just were like, I could not sell this?
I will say there's a caveat to this. So I met Blake Lively in
I've seen this. You've met her a few times, right?
twice. Oh my God. It was
She knew your
kimchi.
name.
She knew my name. She said, "Hi, Audrey. Thanks so much for coming." I was like,
She's fucking amazing.
so-
Sorry,
oh my God.
that girl is beyond beautiful. It's just so annoying.
Ultimate it girl with a heart of gold.
She's so nice as well.
So
That's what
nice.
makes it so like, what the hell? How do you have legs and a body and a face and a hair like
and
that?
a husband
you're-
and a
and a
nice
husband-
family.
And you're also a really lovely person. I love
Yeah.
it though. I mean, it's really refreshing.
Yeah.
But, okay, continue. Sorry.
No, you're fine. So I met her and I was wearing one of Serena's skirts from season 5. I want to say episode 12, but I could be off. It's a hot hippie, like super cute. I'll send you a photo of it.
Yeah.
It's like kind of an autumn toned with like little sequins mini.
Oh no, I know it. I know
yes,
the one.
yes.
Because she wore a few pieces of hot hippie. I think
She wore
'Cause
a
it was very-
lot.
It was very current, that brand at
Yes.
that moment in time.
It's so her too. It's so Serena.
so boho.
So boho. So I wore that when I met Blake, and honestly, it was such like a shell-shocked moment for me. I didn't even say, "Oh, look, I'm wearing your skirt."
Yeah.
But that's something, for example, I'll never sell because to me it feels like it has the memories of that day.
Absolutely. That's connected
Yes.
to a moment
Yes.
specifically for you, and I completely can see I have
Yes.
pieces like that where I've met someone that I was just so in awe of in a certain
Yeah.
dress, and I'm never selling it because it reminds me of a moment where I was so happy and it felt like a validation, and so I get that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that one is a keeper.
That one's a keeper. And then I met Sophia Bush, and I was wearing this fun BCBG Max Aria, like pink strapless top. And she looks at this top, okay? I don't say anything. She looks at the top. She points at it. She says, "That's my top."
Wow.
That was really cool. So that
That's
will never
actually
be
so
sold.
cool as well
Yeah.
because I mean I as an actor as well, I definitely remember everything I've ever worn, but I think a
Yes.
lot of actors don't. Like
Yeah.
for them, they're not that tied to. She obviously was
Well,
totally in tune with that.
If you don't mind, can I share a special story that goes along with
No,
that?
share it, of course.
I know One Tree Hill is a little different from Gossip Girl.
I never
but-
watched this show, so I won't
Okay.
be much use for this
Okay.
one, but
Do you know
fire away.
Sophia?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I knew I was going to an event where she would be at, and in the upcoming months, I ended up sourcing 18 of her original archival.
I remember seeing this on your Instagram.
Yeah, 18 of her outfits worn on One Tree Hill. I met her. I explained XOXO, the Posh Up Girl, gave her the clothes. This woman had the most genuinely giddy reaction. She was
Love that.
overjoyed. She's pulling out the outfits. She knew where they were from. She knew the episodes they were from.
Wow.
She loved it. It was incredible. And then she posted a TikTok on the outfits that's now gotten 23 million views.
That's so incredible. That was good for your business.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow, that's the kind of attention that you need because validation from the person that wore the outfit, re-wearing the outfits you've collected.
So, honestly, that's one of the days I think I'll remember for a long time as a catalyst of growth.
Yeah.
But I've been in touch with her team that if a spinoff does happen, I'm happy to find them some more original outfits.
Which actually is exactly what they did in And Just Like That.
Yes.
So they definitely either used the same items,
Molly and Zelia,
or,
right?
or
Yeah.
they used similar items like case in
Yes.
point the Chanel chiffon blouse that she wears with the
Oh my
headstock
God,
and the
yes.
pedal pushers.
Yes,
So,
multicolor.
yeah, and she wore it back to front,
Mhm.
slightly ripped at the back, like
Yeah.
just so. I mean, it's iconic. They brought her back in the exact blouse, but in a different colorway from the same collection because they wanted to
Ooh.
kind of nod to it. I think without it
Yes.
being too. The people love the fashion from One Tree Hill because I'm not familiar with it. I
Yeah.
kind of know the show, but I don't really know
Yeah.
much about it.
They do. I would say there's definitely an overlap between Gossip Girl fans, One Tree Hill fans, and collectors of the like. It's a lot more of, I wasn't alive during this era, I wish, but it's like the 2000s classic going out top and jeans.
Yeah, which was very classic then. I mean,
Yes.
that's just, and I think that's very much Serena's style in Gossip Girl, which was this, you know, kind of, she always had that very laid back vibe. And as she's just talking about her personal style. So I know that Eric DeMann was really kind of looking for a Kate Moss influence with her. And I mean, what a perfect model to be Kate Moss because Kate Moss is and always will be huge, but she was very huge in that era. I mean, she was photographed all the time in her off-duty outfits.
Yeah.
I would say, do you agree that Serena is very much a Kate Moss in her kind of everyday off-duty model look?
I agree for sure. And I would add that from what I've researched and what I've inferred, I think there are 2 additional influences for Serena's fashion and her personality. Sienna Miller.
Oh, definitely. Sienna Miller was huge. I think she was a competitor to Kate Moss at that point.
Yes.
They were both doing a very similar boho slash rock.
Woodsen.
Yeah, I mean, I could show you pictures of me in that era. I'm obviously older than you, but I was young then, thank God.
Yeah.
And that was my look. I was always wearing like the skinny jeans with the waistcoat, the sequiny waistcoats, the
Love.
moccasin boots from Minnetonka, and
Yeah.
a long necklace and a neck scarf and Balenciaga lariat bag with an Alexander McQueen scarf tied on it.
That was coming back.
I know everything comes back. That's why I hold on to everything, because it all comes back. Things I have let go of, I've just been like, why did I do that? It's fashion now, and now I have to pay like X number of, I mean, like the Balenciagas. For me, the motorcycle bag has never gone out. You've got yours today.
Yeah, I brought it.
I saw it. It's never going to go out of style.
Never.
And I think with that bag, if you've owned one from the original collection, they look so good now because they go all slouchy. And the more worn that bag is, the better.
This is a reissue, and I'm a little pissed because I agree with you. It's so beautiful when it's so limited.
You have to wear that bag. I've got my original. I've got 2 of them. Yeah, I've had, God, for a long time. And that actually reminds me. So, Gossip Girl, do you feel like it was more the clothing that was iconic, or the bags and shoes? Because Sex and the City was, for me, was clothing, but for most people, it was bags and shoes. But I always felt with Gossip Girl, it was, now this is probably because it's not my era, is that it was less bags and shoes and it was more the clothing. Would that be true?
100%. And it's interesting, like I could literally, list off. You show me a photo and I'm like, okay, that's DVF, that's MBMJ.
We'll do that later.
That's Balenciaga.
Let's
do that, guys. It's all in my head. Very minimally could I identify a bag or shoes.
Interesting, because I was thinking the exact. I'm glad you said that, because I thought you were going to be like, no, it was huge. I will say one exception to that is Blair carries a Valentino 360 bag. It's a big sequin bow bag, and it's black, cream and black. Yes. I saw her carrying that. It's very outdated, to be honest, with current trends.
It's Garavani, right?
Yeah, it's mainline. And they're hard to find. And I immediately tried. This is like last year when I watched the series through for the second time in my life. Yeah. And I was looking for stuff, and I saw that bag. I was like, kind of like that. It's so outdated as well. The style is very outdated.
Yeah, but it's cool.
But it's very cool. But other than that, I actually can't really pinpoint many bags, but there is. Do want to bring this in. Yes. Kelly Rutherford.
Yes.
So I found out something about this because she was always carrying a Birkin. Yeah. Like almost 9 times out of 10, she's carrying a Birkin. They were all her own Birkins. So the actress, brought them onto set, used them as part of the costume. That's a dream for a costume designer. Yeah.
Oh, Eric was happy, I'm sure.
Definitely. So I don't know that much about Kelly Rutherford, and I know you do.
I do.
So can you talk me through her as a fashion muse, how that would be? Like, how did she have like a million Birkins? Like, I need the lowdown on this, because I'm like, what?
Yeah. Well, okay, first off, she is so beautiful, so classy.
So yes.
Stunning.
All of the above.
My favorite thing to say about Kelly, her son, who I want to say is maybe a year or 2 older than me, his name is Hermes.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Mic drop. No,
that's the bougiest thing I've ever heard. Her son's name is Hermes.
I think she's living in London or Monaco or Paris. Definitely in Europe.
Was she originally like an it girl? Like,
she's on Melrose Place.
Okay, that was where she was.
Yes. That was her start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually, I got like a video from her, and I was like, do you remember any of the Lily Vanderwoodson outfits? And she said, I think the clothes in themselves were a character in the show.
Yeah. And I definitely would agree with that. Sex in the City.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And it's amazing. Like, honestly, and it hurts me to say, no shows that are going on today have this factor.
I agree. I cannot, I'm just not seeing it. I've been talking about this. I actually wrote a TV pilot a few years ago, and the whole point of it, when I finally produce it, is that it will be very much back in that. It has to be, because we need that. We haven't had that for so long. I think Gossip Girl might be the last time that we had that. Yeah. I don't even think I can think of another example of a TV show that was led by its clothing. I think with Gossip Girl as well, I will say, the outfits are incredibly wearable. Yes. But they're insanely expensive. So this is what the funny part is Serena looks super off duty, like she's just wearing something she got off the high street. But some of it is just...
Well, honestly, it's interesting. I would say for the most part, almost all of Serena's stuff is expensive.
It is expensive?
Is expensive. And then
Wow.
Blair is the one who actually has a mix of affordable and expensive.
That's exactly the opposite to what I would have thought.
Yes.
Wow. I thought you
So-
were going to tell me that Blair was all Dior, Prada, Hermes, and
No.
Serena was like more high street.
No, and I'll say this, and then I want to give an interesting caveat. A lot of Blair's first season outfits were Zara.
Oh,
So, and I think Zara back then was made so much better than it is now.
Zara, can I just say, was so good. Back in the day, Zara was totally different quality, and so I'm not
Yeah.
surprised to hear that, but I kind of am, given the fact that I thought all of her stuff was Chanel, and she just, I mean, Blair is a different beast altogether. I mean, that's
Oh my God,
when have you ever seen a character like Blair Waldorf in a TV show? I mean, it's
We
phenomenal.
do have like Summer Roberts from the OC, who I
Yeah.
think is the California version of Blair.
But Blair's the kind of Audrey Hepburn
Yes,
version
of course,
everything. I mean, she's so, even her lingerie.
Yeah.
This girl, so wait,
Keep
how
going.
old were they?
Oh
in
my
Gossip
God,
Girl?
they were 16 in the first episode.
So she's lounging
like,
around in
increased
awesome
by
provocateur
year. Yeah,
and
yeah.
La Perla,
Yeah.
and she's just like,
Yeah.
and you're like, I have never in my life swanned around my house looking like this, and this 16-year-old girl is making me feel like a failure.
My favorite thing is, and I posted about this because I think it's so funny. It's so Serena. In the season 1 Christmas episode, she's wearing this like minuscule Victoria's Secret red slip silk mini dress to Christmas morning with Bart Bass. Bart Bass. I'm like, oh my God, that's just so Gossip Girl.
Yeah, and so like so inappropriate, but totally,
Yeah.
totally Gossip Girl. Which I think that's the thing with the show. I was thinking about this actually as well. I was talking to a friend of mine. They were always drinking in bars and pubs
Oh
and
my God,
restaurants.
yeah.
And I'm like, as an Irish person living
Yeah.
in New York,
Yeah.
sometimes I get Audrey, which is hilarious. But like, it's really strict here. So how was it depicted that these 16-year-olds would just go to any bar or restaurant and just order a drink?
But to be honest, it's pretty. I've grown up in New York.
You're gonna say
It's
really
pretty
random.
accurate.
Really?
A lot of it is unfortunately like I think it plays a part in, first of all, like their parents were notable. Like no one really wants, or like the Palace Hotel. Like no one's gonna question the owner's son.
Is that a real hotel or no?
Yes,
It
the
is?
You haven't been? We need
I
to go.
We should go as a
Yes.
cocktail.
The Palace. Oh
So
my
wait,
God.
so the palace is real and it's up East Side.
Oh my God. Okay, you need to go. Seriously, it is Midtown East. It is the most beautiful place ever, especially during the
Oh.
holidays. It's a real hotel. You can walk in, look at the ornate gold detailing, and they have like so many moments, like in the Cotillion episode when Dan's like twirling Serena around and Lily's watching. Yeah, they play Apologize by One Republic, which is my favorite moment from the show.
Really?
It's my favorite. Oh my God, it like touches
It is.
the
It is.
heartstrings.
I'm not like, I don't know the show anybody knew as well as you do. Even I know that
Yeah.
moment, and it was fabulous.
Yeah, so that is real. Took place at the palace. You can go and recreate it. Like
That's
yeah.
amazing. So actually,
Yeah.
I might as well talk about this because this was on my list to ask you. Sex and the City used New York as a fifth character, which
Yes.
is very widely known and talked about.
Love
very
it.
much, I would say that as much as people love the outfits, they actually love the original locations too.
Yes.
I go to them all the time. I try to recreate my scenes in the original location.
Can I ask you, does cafeteria still exist?
This is such a weird question. Right?
Okay.
Don't come at me for this.
Okay.
because The answer is yes, it does.
Yeah.
But so you can go to cafeteria. I've been there for brunch. Definitely still a very popular Sex and the City location. But most people will argue that the scenes were never filmed there.
Oh,
Yeah, it's a weird one. I think the scenes were filmed on a soundstage
Okay.
in
LA.
Silver Cup, I think.
Oh yeah,
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 'cause it was filmed
It's like
here.
Brooklyn.
But most people will say it was never filmed in cafeteria. And I don't know where the link came from personally
Yeah.
that it was. It was just kind of this idea that it was supposed to be cafeteria.
Okay.
Whereas a lot of places like Pastis,
Yes.
that was filmed. The scene, yeah, they were all
Yeah.
filmed at those locations.
Yeah.
You're on social media.
Yeah.
Every time you put an opinion out there, everyone has to argue and say,
God.
yeah, that's wrong. And you're
Yeah.
like, we do the best we can. We don't actually.
We're also experts in our respective fields.
Yeah.
So it's tough when there's arguing and we're like, no guys, like this is a well-researched opinion.
Yeah. But to that point, how many original Gossip Girl locations still exist? Is it kind of like the Sex and City ones where it's like you go down the brownstone on Perry Street and my God, you'll find 200 people at any given part of the day?
It's not like that.
I was wondering if it was the same thing.
So it's interesting. A lot of times will go on just walks around the city, kind of clear my head, get some music in.
So,
and I have stumbled across Nate Archibald's townhouse quite a few times.
where is it?
It's, I want to say East 61st.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that. It is Upper East. It's kind of near the Met, but down like 15 blocks-ish. And I just stumbled upon that randomly. So like Nate's townhouse is real. Serena's apartment building is real. The palace is real.
What about Constance?
Constance, okay.
Yeah,
this
I tried to look this up.
Okay, so Constance. So they shot a lot of the outside scenes. So for season 1, episode 11, the Christmas episode, when they go to like a Christmas mart, that was shot at, I believe it's like a preschool, or it is a religious.
So it was a totally
place.
fictional school.
Totally fictional. So, but they shot the scenes at 2 different locations.
Oh.
And many of them are shot at Museum of the City of New York, which is a real building. It's in Harlem. Beautiful. Incredible. So yeah, both those places are still around and not very popular.
And then Chuck buys the Empire Hotel, which obviously exists.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a famous New York hotel.
Oh, you'd love this. I went to Fordham last year and it is 1 block from the Empire.
Really?
1 block. Steps away.
Wow.
It's real, it's functional, it's beautiful.
But you don't really see people at the Gossip Girl locations taking photos much and stuff. It's not that same. Because I think the Gossip Girl heavily relied on New York as another character in the show. Like I think that part of them being this young group of people socializing in all these places, it was also very relevant. The same way Sex and the City was with their locations, but maybe it hasn't like translated to like long-term fandom in that way.
I mean, there's definitely a huge Gossip Girl fandom. I just compare this to you saying, like, on Perry Street, where there's so many people on Perry Street. It's not like that. I think the Met Steps is a huge one where people take photos.
Yeah. But wait, so this is always bugged me.
Yes.
Why was the Met Steps used as where they ate their lunch? Is it supposed to be adjacent to where the school was? Because that always threw me a little bit. You know, the continuity of it.
Yes.
Okay, but where is the building and where, like, did they walk 14 blocks to do this?
So Spence is right around the corner from the Met. So I think it was kind of supposed to be like Spence, the Spence School for Girls was Constance Billard. That's what I think. It's like,
okay. So then
close.
it was logical that they would go sit on the steps.
Yeah.
Would you say the steps is the most iconic location? I mean, it seems like it is to me.
Yeah.
And do you see people taking photos and doing like their outfits on steps?
I do, and it's cute.
Yeah.
It's very cute. Yeah.
Okay, so there's still plenty of places people can visit, but there's no Gossip Girl tours or anything like that.
There is. There's a good one with on-location tours that they invited me on in 2021. It's great. It's cute. They take you right in a bus. They give you Lotteray macarons, which I should have mentioned. Lotteray is another great one.
Oh, wow.
It's worldwide. Yeah, it's a cute tour. I think definitely, like, it was a super fun experience, but you can also just go to these places on your own. Yeah. It's not super hard to find.
No, that's right. I was going to say, same with Sex and the City, really. The tour, I've never been on the tour. I don't need to, given that I'm always around those locations. I'm filming, but I think it's great. I mean, those tours are full every day, the Sex and the City one. Like, then the buses are full of people going around the location.
Yes.
I just don't really like to be anywhere there's a lot of people. So I'm like, if there's people in a bus, I'm out. I'll just go walking. I'm like you, I like to walk around the city. But let's talk back about the fashion a little bit. And I want to talk about the Sex and the City link here because I read a really good quote I shared with you, which is Sex and the City walked so that Gossip Girl could run.
Yes.
So do you think, and do fans of Gossip Girl think that it was the millennial Sex and the City?
I would agree. I would agree on a lot of different counts. I mean, for example, we had like a core 4 in both shows. So obviously the core 4 girls, and then Blair, Serena, Chuck, and Nate.
Yeah.
And I think there's so many similarities, right? Both shows had New York as a character. Fashion was essential.
Yeah.
There's romance, there's gossip, there's sex, there's drama. So many similarities.
Yes.
And I feel like it's great. I agree. Sex and the City walked so Gossip Girl could run. I also think that like Gossip Girl is kind of the stepstone to watching Sex and the City. Like you watch Sex and the City
interesting.
a couple of years after Gossip Girl.
Because Eric Deman, of course, worked on Sex and the City with Pat
Yes,
Field, so he was an assistant. So he definitely, I think, came into Gossip Girl with the idea, let's try and do what Sex and the City did with the outfits. And I think it was successful, but of course, Gossip Girl was different because they had those central boy characters.
Yeah.
Now, yes, we had them, but they were more antagonists in Sex and the City. They were not part of we didn't really follow their storylines individually. We only saw Mr. Big and Steve through the eyes of Miranda, Carrie, and so on.
Yes.
Whereas in Gossip Girl, they had their own storyline.
Yeah.
Which brings me on to, how did Chuck manage to... How?
Right,
Right, how did this guy start off as a predator in the pilot, right?
Yeah.
Absolute predator. There's no way you can flip that around. This guy's like trying to like force Taylor Momsen, you know, it's awful. His hair's also disgusting.
So
What the
bad.
hell? How did he pivot from that into being possibly the most loved character on the show? Because I loved Chuck, like the most, you know, I almost was able to forget, but because I watched the pilot last night, I was going, it was disgusting. But I was like, I loved Chuck. How, because first of all, was he not supposed to be on the show past the initial 1 or 2 episodes?
He definitely wasn't supposed to have a huge arc with Blair.
Right.
That I've read. I think, you know, it's such an interesting question because he was such a menace in the first episode, and I think the way they wrote him kind of shows that they didn't intend to make him into this lovable fan favorite.
That's what I was kind of in a very long-winded way that I came around to that. That's exactly what I wanted to ask you is, how do you bring somebody in that you intend to be so loved and so integral to the success? They didn't, which makes complete sense now. They actually just thought he was going to be this annoying character that was in there.
I think so.
And then why did they make him stay? Was it the limo sex scene? Was that the bit where everyone went, wait, no, what the fuck has just happened? Like, we are into this. We're buying the ticket.
Which, by the way, the troll is based on the real life New York club, The Box.
Really?
Which I'm gonna go to when I'm 21. I'm scared. I'm scared. It's like burlesque. You've heard of The Box, yeah?
I've heard of it. I've not been.
It's like crazy burlesque. Anyways, so from what I've read, it was actually that look that Blair and Chuck gave each other at the Kiss on the Lips party in season 1, episode 1. And the writers were like, there's just so much chemistry here. We feel the palpable chemistry. And they could just tell, like, Leighton and him clicked very well. Yeah. And they just kept him on.
Because, I mean, I would argue that, I don't know, were you a big fan of Nate? You were Chase both. Are you a big fan?
It's, as I was younger, I liked Chuck better. Now I like Nate better.
Interesting, because I feel like I found him a little boring after a while.
But
Nate.
he's so cute.
I mean, he was ridiculously cute, but it was always a bit like,
he's a little
bit vanilla, you know, and whereas Chuck was all these colours, all these different shades of, and he was obviously more, it totally damaged and broken, but so was Nate as well. Like, these are very broken boys, and these are, you know, big issues.
They all have parent trauma.
Huge. You know, all of them. Every single one of them. You've got Eleanor, who was just awful, who was a different character, a different person in the first episode, in the first few. And then, you know, you had Lily, which was problematic to some degree. She wasn't exactly a role model of a parent. And then you had, you know, Nate's dad, and you had Chuck's dad. Yeah, you're right. It was, and then you had Rufus, who was supposed to be like the antithesis of this.
Yes. But like, I've never been a huge Rufus fan.
Yeah, I've read that a lot. I mean, I liked him, but then I watched him last night. I was like, son of a bastard. Like, he's so,
he's so self-assured.
Yeah, I mean, he's really swaggering. Yeah. And I think they possibly, if I was to make one critique, they gave it away too quickly that him and Lily had a thing.
Yes.
It shouldn't have been given away that soon. It needed to be more like, just drop a little thing. Let us think on this for a while. But it was like straight in there, like, boom, oh, history, this is a thing.
Well, it gave us great Thanksgiving episode table drama.
Oh, I mean, it is really smart the way they did that. Yeah. But then let's go to the Humphreys for a second. Yeah. Because that's a whole different vibe altogether. Because we've got our 2 central characters. Everybody talks about the fashion and how beautiful Blair and Serena are, and the boys and all those troubles. And then we've got these 2 So we've got Dan, and we've got
Ben, who's on you?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I
Have
mean,
you seen you?
Yeah, no, I mean he's great on that. Why is it that now when I watch him in Gossip Girl, I'm like, yeah, you totally are a serial killer. You know, like
Well,
he plays
yeah.
it, you can see it.
Yeah.
How he is able to. You can just see how there's something about him that
Yes.
lends itself so
Yes.
easily to that sinister kind that you can't
Yeah.
unsee it.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, Dan, you're just a total serial killer.
Well, can we talk about the reveal of Gossip Girl?
Oh yeah, we have to.
Because I have thoughts.
Okay, well, yeah, please, because I bear in mind. So when I watched it, I'm a
Yeah.
lot older than you.
When was this?
So when I watched the original, I feel like roughly when it came out a little bit, but I was living in
Okay.
Abu Dhabi then, so
Okay.
I was
Ooh.
I was young, living my life. I wasn't really watching TV shows, but I
Yes.
remember watching it on and off. So I really only properly watched it start to finish 6 months ago. I put it back on. I was
Okay.
like, so I knew it. I was familiar, but I actually
Yes.
did not know who. I just never looked into it enough to know who was the Gossip Girl.
Oh.
So that was actually quite interesting for me because I was like, oh, who's it going to be? Now, when I got to the end, I'm like, wait a minute. Right. Tell me your thoughts about this.
Still, first time I watched it, maybe this is a little parasocial, but I had chills over his monologue, his voiceover of talking about the Upper East Side, Fitzgerald and Thackeray, and it was, in my opinion, such a beautiful closer because the way I always view it, this man wanted to be in this world so bad that he wrote his way into it.
Right.
And it's just, I find it kind of beautiful in a way. It's a little stalkerish, but it's also a little beautiful. Like in my humble opinion, there's no one better fit for Gossip Girl than him.
The Dan. But he
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be. It was. This is where the continuity issues
Yes.
come in, and there's massive continuity
Yes.
issues because there's some moments that once you know, you go, but no, that can't possibly be right because he can't be
Yes.
doing that at that moment
Or
because
he
was doing
wouldn't
something
said
else.
this.
Yeah, there was just moments where it
Yeah.
just wasn't physically possible that it could be here, and that leads into the fact that he wasn't supposed to be him, right?
No, he wasn't.
Was it
supposed to be
Eric?
Eric. Yes.
And then why change it? Was it because is it because Eric got into
leaked. No, the script was leaked.
Oh,
The script
I
was
thought
leaked.
it was because Eric's role was reduced because he started working on Revenge.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so he was in that. Did you ever watch Revenge?
No.
I also watched that recently. You know when you need something while you're eating your
Yes.
dinner and you're sitting at your dinner and you're like, I just want something I don't care about. So I was
Yeah.
like, what can I watch? And this
Revenge.
Revenge came up. I was like, sure. And then I really got into it. I was like, okay,
Oh.
this is really good. But he was the little brother in, strangely enough,
Okay.
in that. And
Okay.
apparently I read, and I could be completely wrong, that he was getting less and less screen time in Gossip Girl, and he wasn't the character that they initially probably proposed to him he was going to
Yeah.
be. So
Yeah.
he took another job, and that's why we see him massively decline out of it. So I was under the
Interesting.
impression, I just thought that's why they changed him, that he couldn't be Gossip Girl, because
Yeah.
having someone not be around anymore and be Gossip Girl, it wouldn't play.
That's a really smart observation. I had no idea of any of that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
just funny. I was just like looking into it because as soon as I watched the finale, I went, no, I got to figure this out. So I did that thing we all do when we finish
Yeah.
a TV show. Google, why did this happen? Like, and then
Why
there was
was
a
Dan
lot of
Gossip Girl?
like suggestions and
Yeah.
stuff, and they definitely touched on the fact that they felt that given his diminished role, it didn't
Yeah.
have made sense anyway. And then leak script
Cool.
also makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Because if you wouldn't want it to leak. But in the end, I read a fan had said the other day, no one actually cared who it was in the
Yeah.
end.
She's like, "Oh, let's get married." Serena's like, "Let's just get married anyways."
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Blair's like, "I don't really care." Like, you're so right on that. And
Yeah.
it's interesting because I think they all realize, and this is something honestly applicable to real life, that yes, Gossip Girl gave them so many challenges to overcome and she made their lives harder.
Yeah.
But in a way, they wouldn't be who they were in the present moment without dealing with all of that.
Right.
So I think they were all content enough with their lives to the point where they were like, okay, it's Dan and we'll move on.
Yeah,
You know?
and I think the fans also felt a bit of that because I also think it's true to say that seasons 1 to 3 were phenomenal, but that it did tail somewhat
Yeah.
to. I don't think it does now when you watch it, but I think back then when it
Yes.
initially was released,
It was
I believe
so
the viewership
good.
went down.
Yeah.
But to that point, I read that the viewership, even at the height of its fame, was nothing compared to shows like Sex and the City. It had a
Interesting.
hardcore group of watchers,
Uh-huh.
but I think it's, I really wish I could remember that the highest million figure it ever hit wasn't even what you would call that high now.
Oh, wow.
Apparently it was huge with illegal downloads.
I
So
believe that.
it was the original.
Well, think it's these like 14 and 15-year-olds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was also only on, what channel was it? Like something, the CW or something like that? It wasn't even on like a HBO or anything like that.
Yeah.
And apparently they said that Gossip Girl was like the precursor to streaming, because streaming wasn't around really then that much. It was just sort of getting going.
Yeah.
And they said that that was the show that kind of edged into that era.
Yeah.
Not so many people tuning on their TVs, but people illegally downloading it and watching it. And especially because I think parents were trying to control.
Oh my God. Yes.
Because it was kind of raunchy.
Yes.
I mean, it was also totally telling kids to do shit they should not be thinking about doing.
Well, they did this campaign that I post about on my Instagram probably once a year because it is so good from a marketing and PR perspective.
I saw this on your Instagram and I loved it.
They took these negative reviews from like Parents Television Council and ET, and they put negative reviews onto raunchy promo photos and plastered it around New York City.
You know, it did make people really nervous. Because they presented a life that was just... I mean, it's like, if I'd have been that age watching it in England, I'd have been like, how do I get me some of that? Like, how do I get those clothes? How do I go to a pub and just drink and no one cares? How do I, like, and they're kind of, I don't know whether I would say, do you think the sex was as big in Gossip Girl as it was in Sex and the City?
No.
It wasn't, it was more the implied sex, wasn't it?
Shit with my parents, I don't get uncomfortable.
No.
But the Sex and the City stuff is pretty bad.
But no, it's not. Is it Gossip Girl? Is that because of the age?
I think so.
Do you think they have to be really careful?
Yeah. I think CW is also Warner Brothers.
Right.
And Sex and the City was HBO. So obviously HBO No Limits. Like I think that's a little different.
I'm trying to think of a sex scene that was explicit in Gossip Girl. Can you think of one? I've actually never really thought of this before.
I mean, limo.
Yes.
That's probably, I would say, the worst. But honestly, it could be an implied kiss. Like, we never, there's nothing too extreme, I think.
Yeah.
Good. Also, age gap relationships. That was a huge thing in Gossip Girl.
Right.
The teachers, there was, like, in season 6, Serena with that 50-year-old man. There was a lot of this.
Yeah. Serena just had daddy issues, though, didn't
That
she?
is true.
In terms of the fashion, is that how people were dressing?
Obviously, to your point earlier, Kate Moss, Sienna Miller.
I was thinking of like Serena was always doing like over the knee, the side boots, the kind of wax denim.
Yeah.
I think I'm more interested as well to find out, Blair, did people do that? Right, let's talk about headbands.
Yes.
I'm wearing a headband today, which might be the first time in my entire life. It's not, but I'm not a headband wearer.
It's so cute.
I know. It's Chanel, so it's Chanel.
Yeah.
I think the one thing, if you were to say, talk about Gossip Girl fashion, I think every single person would say headbands, right?
Well,
it was huge.
I would say to your earlier question, Olivia Palermo was definitely a huge inspiration for Blair.
Oh, really?
With her style, very preppy. Obviously, they even look very similar visually.
Absolutely. And
Beautiful
very
brunette, very poised. I don't think Olivia wore a lot of headbands.
Okay.
But Blair's headbands from the show were mainly from Jennifer Behr.
Okay, so this was the designer, and so they literally, what would you say that most of them came from that designer?
Most of them,
because do we know how many headbands she wore in the whole of the show? It's a lot.
30.
Maybe even more.
Maybe more.
I mean, she sometimes had 3 or 4 different ones in an episode.
Hey, well, then you know.
Yeah, well, because like I study fashion, and I like a theme, which is why I'm wearing a headband today.
Yeah,
like I do love the theme, but I love that because I'm not sure that a character has ever again been known for wearing a headband.
Oh no, they haven't. It was kind of like a crown for her, like armor.
I read this. It's symbolic crown because she was a preppy princess.
Yeah,
and so it was almost like that was her thing. And then I also noticed she wore loads of color blocking, but also loads of colored tights. And I remember this was huge back then. This was a big trend, colored tights. I don't think it's ever come back in again, though. To be fair,
I'm black today.
I do too. I never bought into that because you've also got to have the most perfect legs to wear bright red tights.
Yeah,
both of them were just fantastic figures. Tell me some of your favorite Blair outfits.
Oh my god. Okay. Of course, Mark by Marc Jacobs, Joelle dress, season 2, episode 1.
Beautiful.
I'm going to say her school uniform. So she wore season 1, episode 7, Victrola, not the stripping scene, but before that, she wore this, I hope I don't butcher this, Felipe a deck.
Okay.
Black and yellow, like double-breasted school blazer. Her Zara one, navy and red school blazer from season 1, episode 10 was incredible.
Yes.
I'm honestly like flipping through the episodes of my life.
I mean, she wears so many different outfits though.
Foley and Corinna, Mark by Mark Jacobs, DDF, Anna Sui. It's interesting because I think a lot of people, when they think of the idea of like recreating a Blair Waldorf outfit, they think tweed.
Yeah, that's true. She did it. Her coat game was strong.
Her coat game was incredible, but she didn't really wear that much tweed. Like, she didn't really ever wear a
She
matching
wore that.
set.
I think you posted there was one where this top was in the museum and it was next to it was like a capey tweed. And it was like, I felt like next to it in the museum. It felt like
I love that you know. Yeah.
a tweedy cape.
Yeah.
And I maybe, but you're
was
right.
worth
Like I think
it.
it's more. She wore a lot of wool coats. You know, like
so
the
much wool.
very structured.
Yes.
1950s bracelet sleeves, very edgy
Yes.
Hepburn.
Yeah.
That was kind of the baseline coat, and then all the accessories would go on top of that.
Well, another interesting thing. So she wore a Watt from this brand, Griffin, Gryphon.
I remember and I think it's still around, but it was huge at that moment.
So both girls wore a lot of Griffin, and I met Eric Damon this past summer, which was
Amazing.
Oh my God, I was like, I
excited.
bow down in your presence. I asked him to tell me something, a little known fact from the show, and he had kind of told me they were super excited about spotlighting Griffin, and they also spotlighted Vena Cava.
Vena Cava was in Sex and the City too, in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, they used it.
Yes. Oh, I know what you're talking. There's like a
It's
gray
a grey
top.
dress with like studs on it.
Yes.
She wears it with a big necklace. Yeah.
Yes. So they had spotlighted, and then Abigail Lorek, which was the pseudo designer for Blair's mom's fashion line. Waldorf
that was
Designs.
my question of mine. Did they use her designs as the Waldorf designs?
Yes.
That's insane.
It's really cool.
Did she actually notice an upsells because of that? Or because I don't know how to do it.
Sure.
But was it publicized enough that was her designs? I feel like I didn't know that.
Well, it's interesting. I'm always hunting for those because, you know, when Serena has the orange backless dress and Blair has the blue black backless dress from
God, it's so good with
the
the big
photo shoot.
headband on. Oh,
the photo shoot. Those were Lorex, right? So I'm always looking for those on the resale market.
did you ever see them?
Very minimally. I think this woman made such small quantities
She must
for
have.
designs.
That's so frustrating.
Yeah.
And I you don't really hear it right now, but that's definitely a great one to kind of look into. Those so 1950s.
So
and
good.
Serena had the headband in that, and it looks so good on her because you're like, whoa, Serena can really pivot into 1940s, 50s as well. Like used to with the shaggy blonde hair, still looking fabulous. But you know, when she goes into those kind of more dressy looks, she totally pulls it off.
Well, Blake did Age of Adeline, right? Which I think was 40s, 50s.
Yeah, and she
was great there.
Let me tell you my favorite ever.
Yeah.
This is Serena. Zoya Murat.
Yes.
Oh
right.
My God.
Yeah.
Guys, if you don't know this dress, I'm gonna put a picture for you. I've looked to try and find this, but it's couture. It's couture.
There's none.
It will have been the only one. It's couture. So it is a full length smoky grey gown. It's all lace. It's all lace down right down to the shoes. The shoes match the color of the shoes, match the dress, and the lace goes over them, so it looks identical to the dress. Yeah, and it has a train at the back of it. It's long sleeve, which makes it so much more classy. I think because it's so see through and sheer. And
agree.
Oh my God, that dress is to die for. I did her in that dress.
The bag is Halston. It's like a Halston chainmail.
Oh, interesting.
I found it. I sold it at the very beginning.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Not unlike the Versace Mille-Foy dress that Carrie wears in Paris, the grey,
yes.
grey. It's not unlike that.
Similar.
It's a more modern silhouette because that's very Victorian.
Yes.
But the one she wears, it reminds me, there's a lot of consistencies there. Yeah. But my God, she's standing on the side of the road in that dress, and I'm like, that image of her. I mean, only someone with her stature, like her stature and everything, is just her. Yeah. Do you have a favorite Serena look that's your like absolute favorite? I know you love. Was Serena your favorite character?
Yeah. So it's interesting. You know, I watched the show for the first time. Right. I was so young. I was in middle school. When you're at that age, you kind of can sometimes imprint on the personality of
Yeah.
what you're watching.
Of course.
So for a little while, I was like, oh my God, I'm such a Blair. And then I realized, okay, she's a mean girl. She's a mean girl with a good heart.
Absolutely.
But there's too much of an edge here that, like, you love the show, Audrey, but you need to dial this back a little bit.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I would say over time, it's a very formative age, and I just started to like Serena's personality more and more.
Okay.
And then obviously, I mean, stunning, great style, goes
Yeah.
without saying. So I would say she is my favorite, yes.
Okay.
Bit of a damsel in distress. She always has a problem.
Trouble.
She always has somewhere to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my favorite look, I would say either that Zuhair Murad or when they're going to Yale in season 2, she wears a Ralph Lauren cream and purple label, like runway blazer.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, I know the exact ones.
And I think it's a Ralph Lauren white cami, and then like 7 for All Mankind dark skinny jeans.
And she's got like a knee boot with it as well.
Yeah,
I know the one.
So good.
Yeah, I mean,
so good.
but don't you think how easy that is for everyone, even now, to
Yeah.
emulate? And
It
that's what's
is.
so good is, I think Blair was a little bit more difficult to emulate. It was easy to throw a headband on and be like, I'm Blair today, but
Yeah.
it's not really doing it. Whereas
Yeah.
Serena, you could fully go to the high
Yes,
street
that's a
and
great
you
point.
could buy something that looked a lot like what she
Yeah.
was wearing. And I think that's why it was such a huge phenomenon. It was also very
Sure.
akin to Kate Moss and Sienna Miller, like we talked
Yes.
about. That everyone was doing it because it was easy to do. So I think she was just so much more relatable as a starlight buy.
Yes.
We're gonna finish soon, but I wanted to talk about Vanessa. No one ever really talks about Vanessa, and no one likes Vanessa.
I don't like
I don't think I like Vanessa. She was all right to start with.
You know, a lot of her outfits you can honestly find. I don't look for it because no one wants to buy it from me. You know, she dated Ed Westwick in real life.
Oh,
for
she did?
so long.
During the filming?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
interesting.
Which I don't think it was a PR relationship because it was
it
actually
was for
viewed
real.
negatively. Yeah, I think it was for real.
Because I think, I mean, she's very beautiful.
Yeah.
Very beautiful. And he's such a cat. He's British. Is he British?
He's British,
Yeah, he is
yeah.
British. I thought so. In Gossip Girl, he kind of has a British accent, but it has like an American-y,
Yeah.
one of those sort of, you can't quite tell. It's just
Yes.
sort of, he's insanely charming. I mean, what about Taylor Momsen? Because we haven't talked about her. Jenny. That was an
Yes.
interesting character, right? Because
What?
would you say that people who were younger when they watched it align themselves to her more? Or do you know they still aspired to be Serena or Blair?
Very few people ever ask me about Jenny stuff as well.
Interesting.
Yes. You know, a lot of her stuff before her like punk era,
Yeah.
that is a lot of anthropology, which I find
Okay.
super, honestly, very unique.
Yeah.
Serena had a couple anthropology pieces.
Yeah.
But then her punk rock era, you get Alexander Wang, Alexander McQueen, Versace,
Yeah.
like so much, yeah.
She was, I mean, it was a good character, but I think a lot of people struggled with the jump from I want to be Blair to I hate the establishment. You know, it was very like night and day. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be this punky person. And it worked. And God, girls love that look. I love
Yes,
that look. You know,
it's
it was also
cool.
it was much cooler than
Yeah.
what they were trying to do with Jenny.
Yeah.
But of course, then she had herself kind of written out of the show too, because
Right.
she wanted to be a musician, I believe.
The Pretty Reckless, it's really good. They
Really?
use some of her music in the show, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So
good.
does she still perform now?
She does.
Okay, so
She
they've done,
does.
yeah. So she kind of really, it was amazing. She was in the biggest show at the time and she just walked away from it and
Yeah.
kind of got herself like slightly written out of it.
Yeah.
I think that was weird as time went on. And it is interesting that the biggest stars didn't, they stayed with it. Because typically you do find that, you know, things happen and people want to walk away from it. But the main stars stuck with the show from
Yeah.
the beginning to end, which was incredible.
And if the blind items have any truth, I think there was definitely a huge benefit to being in a hot show of that time. I do think some of them felt a little torn between, like you said, do I give up this opportunity and take the chance on something that might not be a guaranteed hit? But then obviously it went on for like 7 years.
Yeah.
That's so much time.
That's
to
a
put
lot
into
of time.
project.
And we were talking earlier about how many episodes.
Yeah, 121.
It's a lot. And to film one of those, I know as an actor, to
Yeah.
film one scene,
A
you know,
lot.
it's a lot. You can
Yeah.
go over and over again for one tiny little scene. It can be exhausting.
Yeah.
And to do, so it is a full-time, you know, like same with Sex and the City, they always say, you know, this was a huge undertaking. But yeah, so to finish, let's just talk about that.
Yes.
In terms of success after Gossip Girl, we know Penn has gone on, but he did it for a long time. There was a big break between Gossip Girl finishing and then him kind of being revived in You.
Yeah.
And then now really he's huge again.
Yeah.
And Blake Lively, I think, has pretty much consistently stayed in the public eye. She's worked in movies. Leighton, interestingly, again, I felt like there was a big gap between her, and now I'm seeing her a lot. Like I'm seeing her crop up in a lot of different things. I think she's having a bit of a revival. Chase, did he do a lot?
He did The Boys recently, which I haven't seen, but a lot of people have.
Apparently, it's supposed to be really good.
Yes.
And then Ed Westwick, what did he do?
He has done a couple of movies, not much.
I'm just wondering, like, kind of like, where are they now? They got a lot of really big names to come into Gossip.
They did.
Just people that just were like, just come into it just for this. And they played themselves as well.
Yes.
They were always like,
yes,
this is Rachel Zoe playing Rachel Zoe. It was, I think it was called the Zeitgeist. It was that moment, wasn't it? And everyone wanted to be on it. Yeah. And I think that we're just not seeing TV shows like that anymore.
Well, Robin did Dancing on My Own. She performed that live and played with me, and those are huge musical moments. Lady Gaga?
Yeah.
Lady Gaga was on the show.
Lady Gaga was on the show. That's
Lady Gaga was at NYU. Like, can we get that in 2026? Lady Gaga just a free concert at NYU.
I just remember that, and there was 10 people watching it. Why was there only 10 people? Like, so she was still pretty huge at that moment.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. It's always amazing to me how long people like Gaga have actually been around, and then you go, yeah, she was huge then, and then why would she be doing a concert to 10 people? It's so weird. But that's the thing with TV shows. If they're a huge part of the cultural zeitgeist, people want to be on there. Yeah. It's a great publicity for a celebrity to be on that. And, you know, and now they can look back and be like, that was weird, but okay, I did that. I can say I was on it. Yeah. I would kill to have said that I was on Friends. I'm a huge Friends fan, or Sex and the City. I'd love to be able to.
Yes.
But anyway, well, I think we kind of really covered a lot of stuff. Now, so tell people where they can look for your, where you do your reselling. It's all on XOXO, right?
Yes. So you can shop clothing worn on Gossip Girl, One Tree Hill, Friends, Sex and the City, The Vampire Diaries, and more on xoxopashupgirl.com. And you can find us on Instagram and TikTok at XOXOPashupGirl. And for Substack writing and all of that good stuff on fashion, pop culture, power, and New York, all that crazy stuff, you can find us everywhere on at XOXOPashupGirl.
Amazing. Audrey, thank you so much. Well, you could have talked about that for like 4 hours, I feel like. There's so much more to that subject, but I think, you know, Gossip Girl was an icon of its era without a doubt. All of its characters are icons, and its actors have gone on to become icons. There's so much to talk about there. So you were so amazing. Thank you so much for talking with me.
Thank you for having me on the Icons Edit.
I loved it. Thank you. Well, guys, join me for the next episode. It will be another icon or something iconic or something along the lines of iconic or something that just lives rent free in your head. It will be on this podcast eventually. So join me for the next episode.